All right, time now is 9:36 a.m. on September 8th. I slept from 4:30 to 9:15 essentially. Really good sleep. Like at around 3:30 I was already so extremely sleepy and I was like already doing this like while watching the movie Pather Panchali. But at least I got to finish it. Um, Today's gonna be amazing. I'm doing the joint interview with Tova. I'm definitely gonna be late to the interview, but it's okay. We're gonna have a lunch break, and then Michelle will pick us up. Will pick me up, and we'll go to the Academy Museum, and then we'll probably have a quick McDonald's meal there. So yeah, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be really cool. It's gonna be a cool ass day, and that's pretty much it. It's birthday celebration part 3, you know. Yeah. Um Yesterday morning, or I think a couple nights ago, I actually texted the composer who helped me compose Dreams of an Empty Street. And I was worried for a sec that he will never respond, but he just did this morning, so that's really cool. And that's pretty much it. I am going to also text, I think, Pink and Zara about me going back, as well as Tom, just in case if he comes back to Hong Kong as well. But yeah, overall it's nice, it's chill. That's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. That's pretty much all I'm going to say. I'm going to quickly film a review right now, quickly clean up some storage space in my phone, and then I'm ready to go, ready to have some fun. Make the documentary, do shit, do things. Yeah. I don't know. Just last night's conversation plus the movie we watched, The Big Chill, once again reminded me that, oh yeah, romantic relationships and sex are things that exist. And it's just like, ugh. I low key, part of me wishes that when I go back to Hong Kong, I'll find someone interesting and like date there. But honestly, to be realistic, that's not gonna happen. Like, it's, 3 months, and, in these 3 months, I'm barely going to be anywhere, anyways. Though I'll definitely try to find work and whatever, but I don't know. I don't know. It's just, I might as well practice abstinence, At this point, what's the difference? So, yeah, but I definitely do want to. I want to go back to Hong Kong with stories to tell, and when I come back to LA, to USC, I want to be able to tell more stories, you know, life and death, tragedies, interesting tales of romance, revenge, whatever. Fucking hell, I love LA transportation. I love LA public transportation. Really fills me with calmness and happiness. Really. What the fuck is this place? Oh my god. Fuck. Here we are, boys.
What's on this tape? Actually, this looks so good. Bro, I can't remember the last time.
What the heck? Oh. Yeah.
Did you film this just?
Okay, the interview is 90% done. Let's go, go, go.
I have the toy there, but from what I have seen, they're not that bad.
Bruh.
Thank you.
Floating Weeds from 1959, a remake of his own 1934 film A Story of Floating Weeds on a DCP courtesy of Janus Films. All of our upcoming screenings through the end of November are listed on our website, as well as in the printed copy.
何にも物のない時でのあれから
I love it. That's like had this thing. Actually pretty similar. You want to give it a shot?
Alright, so time now is 11:35, and you know what that means. It's 11:35 p.m., and you know what that means. It's dinner time. So this is basically my third birthday meal, because I didn't buy this. Michelle got me this because she's generous, and it is quarter pounder with cheese, apple pie, french fries, and ice cream, which I put in the freezer and now is completely frozen, and Fanta orange. That's the meal. So yay. It's actually been a while since I've had McDonald's. Also, it's been sitting here for like an hour because I was taking a shower and everything. It is what it is. Okay, let's eat the apple pie. It's gotten cold already, but it's whatever. Who cares? So much calories, it's crazy. Okay. Ooh. It's crumbly. Oh, let's try the ice cream then. Oh my god. Cheers. Alright, time now is 12:29 after midnight. Yeah, just finished the meal. Finished the whole thing, which is crazy. This is huge, a huge meal. Yeah, today was pretty fun day, I'd say. This morning, it was a little hectic because right off the bat, my hair looked bad, so I washed. No, it looked fine, and then I washed my hair, and it looked bad. It looked like this. Helmet-shaped, fat at the sides, which is very fucking disgusting. And so I tried to go back to sleep again. And I eventually did for like, I think 15 minutes or half an hour. I didn't fall asleep, but I just wanted to use gravity to basically like make my hair look better and not like this, like a fat to the side. But and then I had to do the Pather Panchali movie review after I'd done that. Originally, I planned to arrive at the main campus at like 10:30 a.m. I couldn't arrive until like 11:15, and it was a pure fucking disaster. Like, I think I left the apartment at around 10-ish, like 10 a.m. And I rushed to the bus stop. I took the bus, and then originally it's bus 4 and then bus 8, I think. So I had to chase after bus number 4, and then I got off bus 4, and I have no idea where the hell I'm at. It took me a while to realize that I'm somewhere near Westwood still, but like Westwood Santa Monica Boulevard, I think exactly. Or not Santa Monica Boulevard. It was, I don't know. I don't fucking know. It was Westwood, Wilshire? And I had no idea where the fuck I was, and I had to take bus number 8. And then I looked at the transit app, and it told me to cross the road. Or it didn't tell me to cross the road, but it looks like I have to cross the road to get to the bus stop. So I crossed the road, just realized that I shouldn't have. Now I have to wait another 3-4 minutes for the red light to turn to white light again so that I can cross the road. And my laptop's screening for no reason. So that I can cross the road again. And it's so fucking frustrating. I was so mad. I almost kicked the fucking pole to the bus map. So I crossed the road and I saw bus number... I was gonna take 12 instead because bus number 8 is long gone. So I was gonna take bus number 12 and then bus Rapid 12 and Rapid 7. Rapid 12 just went right past me. I was going to run at it. I was going to run across the road, J-run, and just chase after the bus, but it was too late. And then, fine, I'll take bus number 8. And then bus number 8 went right past me. So I'm like, what the fuck? So I waited for another 6 minutes for another Rapid 12 to show up. Got onto Rapid 12, and I had to take bus 7, but for some reason, because Rapid 12 was too slow because of traffic, I love LA, Rapid 7 turned into 7, so I have to catch a bus number 7. Or bus number 7 turned into Rapid 7, which is way later. But at the end, after I got off of Rapid 12, I J-ran to the bus stop for 7, and I took bus number 7, so it was a fucking nightmare. I arrived at main campus at 11:15, and it took us like a whole hour to set up because it took Naja a while to set up the whole sound system, recording system, the boom mic and everything, and the lav. I almost, like, she told me to stick the lav up and into the shirt, so it actually had to go inside, not inside me, but you get what I'm saying. And we had to move like twice within the Cadence Center because there were people behind us and they were talking. Idris, the half French, half Chinese guy from Photo 2, he was there. And he was on this Zoom meeting. I think he remembered me. But yeah, it was kind of all over the place. But we started actually doing the interview at 12:15 and we just went on till 1:30, I think. And yeah, we went on and on and on. Unsurprisingly, this is the longest interview we've done. It went from 12:15, stopped at 1:30, continued at 2:30, all the way till 6. So that was about 4.5 hours so far. Yeah, that's basically about 4.5 hours. And I think we covered 95% of everything we need to cover, but we went on and on. We rambled on and on because I and Tova didn't have any filter. We just rambled on and on and on. And it took us so long just to reach the part in the interview where we talk about the shoot. And it was really fun too. We laughed a lot in the beginning because it's weird that we're the ones getting interviewed. But when we got into the mood, we really got into the mood. I tried really hard. I was scared that for this interview it's not gonna go as hard because I'm tired and sleep deprived. But instead, on the contrary, maybe because of that, I went really hard. Maybe I tried too hard. Like there were moments where I was like, oh, like I wasn't even answering a question and I would just say something extremely dramatic, which rings true. Like I am emotionally completely crushed by film 33, but I described it as this biblical Shakespearean thing that's like destroying me inside out, and maybe I went a little too hard. I'm gonna cut up some of that for the doc. But yeah, that is that. We had lunch, and originally I thought of having pizza or maybe the Korean place across the campus for lunch. I was dying of starvation, but Tova wanted to go to the cafeteria. The cafeteria wasn't open. So we went to that place. They got Mediterranean food and I got Korean food. And for $16, I got this huge bibimbap meal. It's really good, really tasty, really good. It's probably the last time I'm going to try that, but so, gotta enjoy it. But yeah, the interview went on and on and on, and I'm surprised that by the end of the interview at around 5, I still had the energy to go on, but there's just not enough battery, not enough storage space, and it's just not a good idea for us to go on because Michelle's supposed to pick me up at 5:30. I texted Michelle, can you pick me up at 5:45? Michelle's like, okay, and I didn't actually get to her car until 6:15 because it just went on and on and on. So yeah, and then right after the interview, I even called Benny immediately, and Benny picked up surprisingly. Benny's like, yo, what up, Noxter? And we booked a time for Benny Part 2. So originally we wanted Tuesday because that's the day Tyler's going to do the interview with us, but at the end it's just too complicated. Like on Tuesday he's only free at evenings, and it's not great because Caden Center is not going to be open and there are a bunch of other issues. So we went round and round and round a bunch of dates, and at the end we settled at Sunday afternoon, which means that immediately after church I'm going to come to the main campus at the college and just do the interview part 2, which is busy but doable, I guess. And then that's pretty much it. So second half of the day, I and Michelle went to the Academy Museum. Michelle's dad's driving, but it is Michelle's new car. Smells like a new car, feels like a new car. We went to the Academy Museum, and I was just really tired. I didn't talk much with her today. And we were gonna get some food before we watch a movie, but the thing is, I just finished the bibimbap a couple hours ago, so I'm not that hungry. And by the time we arrived, it was like 6:50 already, and the movie starts 40 minutes later at 7:30. So we walked to McDonald's, and it was a little, a little, not PTSD, but a little flashback of, oh, this is the spot where Leslie hopped over the fence at McDonald's. Like, that is one of the moments I really fell in love with her. Just like, God, I love girls that hop over fences. But yeah, we ended up not getting any McDonald's there because we're running out of time. So we walked back to the Academy Museum, went to the theater, watched the movie. There are so many Japanese people there. Like, a Japanese couple were beside me. Like, they were old. Not old, but they were like in their 30s or something. Or maybe even 40s, I don't know. But yeah, and then some young people there. But anyways, we watched Floating Weeds. I almost fell asleep a few times in the first half. The second half was a lot more entertaining. A bit more, actually. But overall, it's kind of a slow-paced meditation type movie. But it's good. Afterwards, it's like 9:30, and Michelle's dad picked us up, and we went to a McDonald's, the nearest McDonald's near this place. Which is like very close apparently, and it's the same McDonald's where Thomas forced me to buy stuff, and I didn't realize that McDonald's is this close. So that's where I got a bunch of this. I thought we were gonna sit down and eat, but we got the food takeout, and Michelle paid for me as a birthday gift. She also gave me a birthday card and like a cake popsicle from Starbucks as a gift, which is cool, I guess, even though I've had plenty of cake already. Yeah, that's that. That's how the day ended. And that's pretty much it for today. And I think the 3-day birthday celebration ends here. Does tomorrow count? You know, I'm gonna count tomorrow as well. But yeah, overall, I think it's a really good 3 days. I'm really tired. Today I've slept for 4 hours, 40 minutes. Yesterday was just 4 hours. So hopefully I get to sleep a bit more tonight. I still need to watch Sicario. Fuck, it's okay. I got time. But yeah, you know, it's good. It's pretty good. Good. And yeah, yeah. Um, yeah. I don't know. I just want this interview thing to be done with so that I can start editing the doc. Honestly, that's the fun part. That's where the fun part actually begins. I also have no idea. This is gonna be like last time. Every time I leave LA, which has only really happened twice, everything gets stuffed, and I just get extremely overwhelmed, extremely busy. Like back in December, before I went to Japan, like every single day is just jam packed with stuff. You know, I have to hang out with Zara. I have this, I have that, blah blah blah, and it's the same. Even though I still have like 10 days before I leave, but I got like, you know, I got stuff. I got film classes. I don't even know why, but I look at my schedule and it seems really busy. I need to go to Ralph's like one more time. Um I need to do the laundry day, and then I need to go to the USC Triple Link Apartments. Bunch of stuff, but yeah. Also, the composer for Dreams on Empty Street responded to me finally, so that's fun. That's cool. So we'll see. We'll see. I am insanely sleepy right now. Time now is 2:06. I forgot to mention a couple things. First of all, it was yesterday when I went back to the old apartment and saw Lycan, the new roommate, who took over from me essentially. I asked her if the room is like good, you know, like what do you think of the room? And she said that it's fine, it's just that it's really hot for some reason. And I'm like, oh my god, thank god she's having the same problem with me. So it's not just a me problem. Like the room actually does get really hot. And then another thing is today Justin Ramley DM'd me saying that he doesn't like Ken already. For some reason, like Justin went up to Ken and spoke to him in Mandarin, and it was kind of awkward because Ken wants to hide the fact that he can speak Mandarin. But I already told Justin that Ken is from Taiwan. And Ken acted really cool, and I told Justin, yeah, Ken is just a really cool person, really chill and really stoned person. And Justin's like, okay, I see. I think he's fine, you know, I think he's just joking around. So that's interesting. That's pretty much it. Okay, time now is 10:13 a.m. on September 9th. Yeah, I slept from 3:30 to 10 a.m. It's not bad, 6.5 hours. I was so freaking tired and sleepy last night. Like, I watched Sicario, and it's supposed to be a very intense, high-paced movie, but I still almost fell asleep. So I'm like, you know what, fine, I need to sleep. Because tomorrow I need to wake up early again for church. So, you know, might as well. So, yeah, um, yeah, um, today I'm going to Film 41, and simple as that. Nothing fancy. Um, it's gonna be also pretty crazy and important because today will be the last day I'll ever take a class in this community college. It's my last class in this college, really, and then I'll just freaking disappear. So I want to enjoy today as much as possible. Um, and yeah, I just want to enjoy today as much as possible. I don't know. I'll be seeing Cliff again, Justin again. Leslie will be there. Fuck. Also, my stomach's feeling a little stomachache again, which is great. I love it when that happens. Why does that keep happening? I have no idea. Oh my god. Yeah, I'm gonna film 2 reviews this morning, and then I'm gonna watch a little bit of Sicario again, and then I'm gonna go to Film 41. Tonight, let's just relax a bit. Let's just freaking relax a little bit. I think, I really need to start working on finding apartments around USC for real and start arranging tours. I want to plan this well so that I'm not gonna like freak out and be like, oh my god, I only have 4 days before I leave and I still have so much to do type situation. Like, I really want to avoid that situation as much as possible. Not much else, not much else. Really looking forward to, I should start counting down. Today is September 9th, so it's pretty much 9 days left before I leave. I'm really looking forward to just leaving Leslie and Cuchillo behind, just start fresh, fall in love with new people. Oh my god, my stomach. Okay, I need to go to the bathroom, I think. And I'm just, I just looking forward to going back. I actually need to film self-introduction video for the app that is Stabs in order to find tuition work. So I'm gonna do that actually. I don't know if it's today or tomorrow, but eventually I'll do that. And then that's pretty much it, really. That's pretty much it. I also need to organize my stuff because I need to organize all these boxes and make sure they're all properly inventoried. Because right now I have 2 nail clippers. I'm missing the new one. And there are also tons of other stuff. I have no idea where I put them. It's just a whole fucking mess with the boxes. So I need to really organize my boxes and inventory every single item. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Tomorrow I'll go to church, and then I'll go to Benny Part 2, and then I'll go to Target, and then a couple days later I'll, Monday I just want to rest. So yeah, that's the plan. Yay.
I woke up this morning and I'm choosing violets.
This point is an experiment.
What do you think, like 2 hours? Hour and a half?
Wait, from the what to what? SSD?
From a 2.7 SSD to
Welp, just at my final class at this community college. Very appropriate ending, I'd say. Very good conclusive ending. Alright, time now is 12:22 after midnight. So, you know what? The birthday celebration day sequence has completed. It ends today. It ends now, in fact. So today is very interesting day, I think, and is a very nice way to end off my life here in this community college, even though I will be going back to CMD for 2 more days. So not quite the end, but definitely an ending nonetheless. So yeah, let's talk about right off the bat this morning. I had a stomachache again. I don't know what the fuck's wrong with my belly. I don't know what the fuck's wrong with my tummy, but I had a stomachache again. I had a stomachache yesterday morning, and I had it again today, and I was like, you've gotta be kidding me. So I went to the bathroom, and then I filmed a review, and then I watched like 6 minutes of Sicario, and then I realized, oh my god, I need to leave in 4 minutes. So no, I checked my phone and it says I need to leave in 17 minutes. So I'm like, okay, I have a little time. I can watch a little Sicario, and then I'm gonna pack up, and then I'm gonna go to class, film 41. And then I watched 6 minutes ish of Sicario, and then I realized, oh my god, there's 4 minutes left. So I immediately washed the plates, and I changed my clothes, and I promised to bring hentai to school today, so I actually did. So I went to a box and I dug up my hentai, and I actually brought it to school, and then I looked at my phone, and what the fuck? The bus is already passed. Bus number 4 has already swooped past the bus stop that I was going to. What the fuck? And the next bus comes 22 minutes later. It's insane. First, maybe I'm stupid. Maybe I shouldn't have continued watching Sicario. I have to wait 22 minutes for the next bus. In Hong Kong, I have to wait 2 minutes, not 22. So that's very frustrating. And I thought, you know what? Screw it. I'll figure out a way. Like, I'll do some crazy maneuvering with the bus rides, and I'll figure out a way. So I packed up, and then I put on my fancy shoes. I put on the skeleton shirt. And then, I should have filmed myself and what I wore. I put on the skeleton shirt and the very big baggy black pants with coordinates at the sides. Are literally one of my favorite shirts and one of my favorite pants to wear, just to look my best for today. So I went to the bus stop and I saw another bus number 4 coming, but there are 2 bus number 4s. One goes to Santa Monica downtown, and one makes a left turn and goes down Sepulveda Boulevard. So I wanted to take the other one, the closest one. The next bus number 4 goes to Sepulveda Boulevard, and I'm not supposed to take that one, but what if I do take that one and then stop before it makes the left turn and then get off the bus and then hop onto another bus, like a bus number 1 or something? Maybe that maneuver is going to save me time. It doesn't save me any time, actually. So I went onto that bus. It made a left turn. I immediately got off the bus. I checked the transit app. I have to wait another 6 minutes for a bus number 1 or a number 4 to come. So it literally made no difference. So between bus number 4 and 1, I took bus number 1 because bus number 1, I can get off, and that stop is closer to CMD. And since I'm going to be late, might as well make it comfortable. Might as well make it comfortably late for me. So I took bus number 1, and I overshot the bus stop by 2 stops. I don't know how I managed to do that. I've taken this bus so many times, and I managed to go over the stops by 2 stops. So I walked for 10 minutes, high-speed walking, power walked to CMD, and by the time I arrived, it was like 1:10. So the class starts at 12:45, and it was 1:10, and I was so scared that I'm going to be like the only person walking in. But thank God when I walked in, I see Victor, as well as Takumi, the Japanese boy, outside the door. And they were like, because Takumi is not enrolled in the class, but he really, really wants to crash. And Victor's like trying to convince him, just walk in, just go in. I saw him and I was like, yeah, I'm not enrolled too. You can just walk in. So us 3 walked in. I'm glad someone's with me. And then the Indian professor immediately saw Takumi and was like, Takumi, you're not enrolled in this class. And then he got embarrassed and he left, and we all laughed. And I'm like, oh my God, thank God. The professor probably saw me, but he doesn't know that I'm not enrolled in it as well. And so I have no idea where to sit, and it got a little awkward for me. I had no chairs. And then I walked to the left side of the soundstage. There's Chiara, the Italian woman, and Justin and Cliff, the gang, the group, the troupe. And Chiara pointed to an empty chair in the front, which is between Hinata and Jake. So I'm like, great. So I went up to that empty chair and I asked Hinata, is there anyone in the seat? And Hinata's like, no. And I'm like, and I sat down and I whispered, thank God the professor didn't see me. So it's a-okay. Again, it feels so great to have like allies in CMD. Like everywhere I go, every class I take, just someone I know shows up and I can just ally with them. Like I can randomly take a film 21 or I can take a film 34 and I'll run into people I know. Like if I go into film 34 now, there's Betsy. Film 5, there's Christian. If I take a film 21, there's got to be someone there that I know. Like I've just made so many allies in CMD. It's wild. And also the previous cohort, the WoW cohort, my cohort, and then the next cohort. I know them all. And even the next cohort, we got Elin and maybe a couple people that I know, like Takumi or something. Or Connor, the Macanese guy, could be in that cohort. But, yeah, you know, I just know so many people. It's wild. Anyways, the class continues. It's really good. We had to light people today. We did, not 3-point lighting. We just did one light, like one key light. And it's essentially the Rembrandt's triangle exercise, which is something I've tried a little bit before, but I've done lighting, like hands-on with gloves and a tungsten light. I don't think I've ever done that, ever. So I put on gloves and I actually messed with a tungsten light, and I helped lit a guy's face. And I was a little worried, but honestly, it's not that difficult. Like if you know how the light stand works, if you understand concepts like tilting and panning and how to create a shadow under the guy's face, it's actually not that difficult. But again, simple small task. Like for someone like Lauren or Cliff, it's like easy peasy. But yeah, so we formed groups, and it was me, Cliff, Lauren, and Justin and Kiara, and this other black guy, Destin, who was friends with Victor. And Victor's in the other group, but he like goes to us all the time. And it is so much fun. I'm glad that, okay, I'm going to miss out so much fun stuff for Film 41, but I'm so glad that I got to do this today, because I don't think I'll ever do this for any more in my life. Like I probably will never touch a light anymore. Like gaffer or being a DP is not my path of choice. So this is like probably the only time, and we had so much fun because I'm with pros. Like Cliff and Lauren are freaking pros at this, and so 90% of the time I would just be like laughing with them and looking at memes and stuff. There was a moment where the Indian professor asked me if I had seen Sicario, and I told him I watched the first half, and then he tried to test me. He's like, okay, what do you think of the first half? And I'm like, oh, the pacing's good, blah, blah, blah. A little bit later, when we were lighting the Rembrandt's triangle, I laughed out loud, and he's like, you know, this is not film 32. And it's kind of funny, but it's cool. Oh, and then there's another point where I was like cable wrangling, and I grabbed a bunch of cables, and I kept holding onto it. And he's like, you know, you don't have to hold the cables. The electricity will flow without you. And it was such a good roast. I'm actually really honored that he roasted me that way. Like, that's better than like him just completely ignoring me. That's really cool. And still somehow he has no idea that I'm not even enrolled in the class. But yeah, it's really interesting. But yeah, everyone's there again. Simon, Betsy, David the Swedish guy, the Michelle the Indonesian. The other Korean girl, Min Song, she's not there today. But Christian was there, and a bunch of other people were there. Elin was there, you know, you name it. But yeah, and then soon we had a break, and then I took out my hentai. You know, I made my word, so I really actually took it out, and a bunch of people saw it, like Cliff and Justin, Destin and Victor, and then Kiara saw it, and this other guy with a mustache, and they were like, and I flicked through the pages, and they're like, oh my god, you know, and they were like amused and stuff. So it's like we're back in freaking elementary school or primary school or something. It's so funny. It's and then the break was like 40 minutes long or something. No, it's how long was it? I forgot, but it was quite long. It was like it was 25 minutes. And then Cliff and Lauren decided to go out to get some wraps, like some chicken wraps, and I'm like, sure, I can get one, because I'm gonna be hungry. In the morning, I had French toast and like 1.5 cookies, and I haven't had lunch, so this is a good time. And they were gone for like the whole time, and then I walked to. So I was with the Justin group, And then I left a little bit to talk to Christian, Elin, Hinata, and another older woman who was like half Asian, I believe. And she asked me my name, and I said Enoch. And then she asked me if I'm Japanese. And I'm like, no. And Elin and Christian laughed. And then we started talking about how, like, you know, Asians get misidentified. Like, I talked about how it's not the first time I'm mistaken as Japanese. It's hilarious. But yeah, and then they talked about it's just such like way chiller conversation, and it's also really funny how like normally I don't talk to strangers. This old woman, his name is Mimi, and old as in like probably 30 something years old or 40 something. But I can still joke around. Like normally I can't do that shit. So it just goes to show how much I've grown. But anyways, the story continues. At the very end, we had to go back to the soundstage, and that is when Cliff and Lauren showed up with their chicken wraps. So I just put the wrap in my backpack. I'm like, fine, I'll eat it after the class. So we went back in and we saw some lectures. There's some footage from Film 34 where some people are interviewed, but the professor's only showing it because of the lighting. And that part was a little boring. And then at the end, we formed a giant circle and we passed around a red camera, a red one, which is like the oldest, most dumb red camera ever. And then we passed around an O'Connor head, which is insanely heavy. And then after that, the professor assembled the camera, disassembled it. That's it. Class is over. And then class was over at around like 4:50, 5 p.m.-ish, but we managed to stay around and hang around for like 2 more hours. So I ate the wrap, and I saw Naja again. But yeah, I ate the chicken wrap, and I saw Betsy, and I actually talked to Betsy a little bit. And Betsy's like, oh, I gotta go. And since it's probably the last time I'll ever see her in ever, maybe not, hopefully not, but again, this is like a huge last time, you know. I'm getting similar vibes as the graduation day in December of 2021, where I see people and I keep thinking, damn, this is going to be the last time I'll ever see those people. So I just treat it like it's the last time. Same with Betsy. I just saw her and I'm like, oh, can I talk to you for a moment? And Betsy's like, sure. So Betsy sat down at the round table outside, and I just quickly told her, like, you know, the letterbox thing, which she has no idea about, and then also the fact that Eindhoven are making a documentary. I tried to like not make it seem like a huge deal, but I eventually told Betsy like the gist of it. You know, Eindhoven have 130 gigabytes of footage, and we have interviewed 12 people already, and Betsy's pretty impressed. Betsy also told us that she didn't tell the Corsair that much about like CMD drama, apparently, even though Michelle said that she did. And I asked Betsy if she knows what to do with the documentary, and she said it's really up to you too. Like, if you want to put it in a film festival for the college, sure, but at the risk, you know, at a huge risk. But it's good that Betsy knows. Maybe Betsy will have some cool ideas, whatever, but it doesn't really matter now because I'm leaving. But Betsy's definitely impressed that Eindhoven have pulled this off. And then yeah, and then I swiftly joined Justin and Cliff and Kiara at the CMD entrance, and we just stood there and sat there and talked for like 2 hours basically. I didn't say a single word to Leslie today. I did see her constantly, she and her streaks of magenta hair, bits of blonde here. It's like bleached hair. It's not really blonde. And she's wearing shorts, this checkers jacket, long sleeved, not really jacket, it's just like long sleeved clothing. And I just see her and she sees me and there's nothing to it. There was one small moment where I was lighting and the professor was like telling me how to light the person better. And the professor needed gloves and I offered him gloves. I like put my hand out like this, both my hands, And the professor's like, oh, I have gloves. And he took out his own gloves, and I just stood there like an idiot. Leslie saw me and laughed. That was the only like interaction relating to me. But aside from that, we didn't say a single word to each other, which I think is for the better, you know. But it's cool. It's small moments like this that I wish Leslie would see more of, like me just being me, you know. Anyways, I digress. Back to the long talk, which I think was the highlight. For a good chunk of the talk between me, Justin, Cliff, and Kiara, it was just like some jokes, and then we started talking about Film 33 and just drama in general. We talked about Ebony, we talked about Marco, just like Friday Film 32 drama. But the funny thing is, even though I'm not in that class, I'm still kind of involved, and I know who they're talking about, and I know the drama. I know how annoying and bossy Ebony is and how bad of an attitude Marco had. And then we talked about Simon. Apparently, this is where it starts getting very interesting. So apparently, also Betsy told me a little bit about Film 34 drama. Apparently, the professor of Film 34 pre-chose 2 students as directors, and that really pissed Betsy off. And then the professor asked Betsy to be the producer, but Betsy said no because she hasn't even read the script. But anyways, back to the talk, the long talk. We talked about Simon, and I talked about Simon's allegations because Simon sexually harassed Leslie. According to Leslie, asked Leslie to kiss him out of nowhere, which is very weird. But Kiara defended Simon. Kiara's like, what did Simon do? Like, what happened? And I was like, oh, yeah, well, Simon apparently like asked Leslie if she could kiss him. And then Kiara told me, oh, that's, you know, I know that happened. So Simon and Leslie went on a date. And I'm like, that's a date? So I guess to Simon, he thinks it's a date. To Leslie, she thinks it's just a hangout. But it was a weird thing anyways, in the first place. Like, hanging out with someone who clearly has a crush on you. And it was after Film 40, they went somewhere, and essentially, and Simon at that point already had a huge crush on Leslie. And another thing is, Simon is actually apparently only 18 years old. The guy is tall as fuck. I thought he's 25, but he's 18. And it's just, to Kiara, it's just like 18-year-olds thing, you know, just 2 young adults messing around. And it's not like Simon forced himself on Leslie or anything. So, you know, that's that. And that made me remember what Benny said about how Leslie has boy toys. I got fucking played by Leslie, big time. So did Simon, actually. Like, Simon's just another victim of Leslie. I'm not saying Simon is a good guy. At the end of the day, Simon's fucking weird. He has an Asian fetish. Kiara knows that. Everybody knows that Simon has a huge Asian fetish. So it's weird. But anyways, like, what Leslie told me is only her side of the story, you know. But apparently Simon had a huge crush on Leslie. Even when Simon had a crush on Jade's friend, and Simon did the thing with Carly, Leslie was always like his number 1 crush, and it was like a super crush. And he would like talk to Kiara about it, like, oh, what should I do? Is Leslie gonna be in the new Film 33? Blah 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 blah. So that's really interesting. And then Kiara mentioned how, you know, she hasn't spoken to Leslie in a long time. And there was a moment when Leslie and her had an argument, and she was like, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. And at that point in the conversation, I was like, oh, so that's it. So that's what happened. So on the church day, on the set of Ends and Means, back in June, Gustavo and Leslie were beefing. Gustavo talked to me, and he mentioned how a while ago, Leslie yelled at someone and yelled, "Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you." And I was shocked. I'm like, well, who could that person be? Who was the person that Leslie was extremely mad at? And Gustavo doesn't know. Now I know. That person is Kiara. It all adds up now. And Kiara basically told me what happened. And then our conversation drifted around. We talked about Ebony, we talked about Marco, but I really wanted to talk about Leslie for obvious reasons. So at the latter half of the conversation, for like an hour straight almost, Cliff and Justin are just talking about their own thing, joking around, and I sat down and I talked with Kiara. It has come to a point where I am having a heart-to-heart with some 30-something-year-old Italian woman who I barely know. But that just goes to show how fucking universal things are in LA. So I just told her, and I debated myself whether I should tell Kiara, because it's something really personal. The fact that I like Leslie, but so I just, and at some point I was like, and Justin and Cliff were listening too, and I know Cliff already knows that I'm into Leslie, and Justin might already have an idea, honestly. But I was like, should I tell him? At the end, I told Kiara, and I told Kiara, you know, at around March, I was really into her. And Kiara was like, oh, I know. And I'm like, what? How did you know? Like, did someone tell you? And she's like, no. And I'm like, did Leslie tell you? And she's like, nope. And I'm like, well, did you like figure it out? And she said, yeah, I figured it out. And I'm like, how? And she said, by the way you look at her. It's a dead catch. Dead catch? You know what I'm saying. It's a dead giveaway. And that's the same thing on May 20th. The way I looked at Leslie was so, like, I was so enamored with her. And Kat could immediately tell that I'm fucking into her. So, yeah, and Kiara said, eyes don't lie. Yeah, so now it's even more comfortable for me to basically explain everything. So I told Kiara how, like, Kiara talked about how she noticed that the way I speak to Leslie and the way Leslie also look at me, it's like we're getting really comfortable, and it's very clear that I'm into her. Maybe not super interested, maybe not like super like love her, but like interested at least. But one thing Kiara got wrong was that was like super like into her. Like for me, love is very extreme. It's very dramatic. I'm not a casual hookup type of person. I'm like fucking extremely dramatic dedication type person. But Kiara could tell at least. And Kiara could tell that at some point she started acting weird around me. And she knew that something happened. Like maybe someone told her or maybe I told her. So I told Kiara most of the story, the summary of the story, and how I confessed to her and she started treating me like shit. And how we sort of like broke apart. And it really lined up with Kiara's own experience with Leslie. Because Kiara, you know, they used, like, Kiara and Leslie used to be really close to each other. They had two fights. The first fight is about using the soundstage to practice lighting for the Zodiac scene. The fight where, you know, Leslie screenshotted and sent it to me over WhatsApp. The second fight was about Simon, apparently. It's like Kiara told Leslie, you didn't have to do that to Simon. You didn't have to get Simon fired. Which is what I did. Simon getting fired is me. I told Professor Antonio about it first. Leslie made me do it. In some ways, Leslie was kind of manipulative. She knows that I'm into her, probably, already at that point. She knows that I like being submissive. She used it to play at me, and she used that to force me to fire Simon. But anyways, I confessed to Leslie, and she started treating me like shit, ignoring me. Exactly what happened to Kiara. After the fight with Kiara, Kiara wanted to talk to her again, and she ignored her, ghosted her, and treated her like shit. Kiara saw Leslie in person during one of the drills, maybe in the last week, in a lunch, and apparently it was a Friday, but Anna and Gustavo were there. And when Kiara approached Leslie, Leslie immediately put out his phone, set a timer to 10 seconds as well, and was like, you have 10 seconds to leave the table. And Kiara got mad, and Leslie was like, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. And it got really crazy, and Anna was like, and Leslie's like, talk to me later, talk to me in June. You know, I'm busy now. And the thing is, it's like Leslie's bipolar or not bipolar, borderline personality disorder, because a while later, and by a while I mean like during summer semester, Kiara would come back to CMD and see Leslie, and Leslie would be like, hi. Like, it's like Kiara does such a good Leslie impersonation. Hi. And then also the other day, you know, that's such a Leslie move. That's such a Leslie move. Like, oh my god, that is literally her. And then so I didn't pour my heart out, but I basically like revealed my personal feelings, and I told Kiara how I felt like shit. I gave Leslie a phone call, I cried, and Leslie's like, I don't care. And it was really bad. And Kiara comforted me and said that, you know, yeah, I understand the feeling. Kiara just got divorced, and Kiara also had this falling out with Leslie. But I also told Kiara how I'm sort of moved on now, and how, you know, I know that Leslie's a child. And Kiara's like, yeah, you know, exactly. So we really had a real heart-to-heart, and Kiara comforted me and said, you'll find someone else. It's going to be okay. Like, you're going to move on. I understand how you feel. So it's a really, like, great, like, sympathetic, empathetic moment. And then we just walked. The sun set, we walked away. And I took bus number 4 back home, and bus number 4 straight up swooped past me, and I have to wait another 22 minutes for the next bus number 4. So I just stood there and listened to music. But that's it. You know, that's a really good closure. If I needed to have closure, this is a really good closure, I think, for me and Leslie, our story. And it's just, come to think of it, I'm not that special. I guess I am in a way, because I don't know how many guys have been that close to Leslie, but I'm definitely not the only one, and I feel like this is what made me realize, like, we're both Leslie survivors. We're both victims of Leslie. But at the same time, she's also just some child, you know? So why be mad? But I guess, yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah, very much needed closure, I think. You know, both with Betsy, with Leslie, and me showing a BTS photo of the Indian professor drinking coffee on the set of Ends and Means to the professor, and he's like, why do you always get me when I'm eating? And yeah, just a very good way to end off the classes. This is my final class in this college, really. Funny enough, I walked away from this CMD as if I'm never coming back. But the funny thing is, tomorrow I'm going back. So that's hilarious. And that's pretty much it. Tomorrow I'll have to wake up early to go to church. I'm just going to watch 4 episodes of Cowboy Bebop. I'm going to edit some college video, and then I'm going to go to bed. It's going to be nice. And yeah, I feel at peace. I feel at peace right now. And again, like, me falling out with Leslie, it's not my fault. It's kind of her fault, but also not really. It's just bad timing. Maybe on my part, I was too pushy, I was too fast. On her part, she's just too unstable, and our personalities clash a little bit. At the end of the day, it's like a natural reaction. And just because we fell out doesn't mean I'm a loser. I shouldn't think that way. If anything, I'm a winner. Or at least I am good. I am strong and brave for having the courage to confess to her. I told Kiara that it's the first time I've ever confessed to a girl, and Kiara was like, wow, so that must have really hurt. Yeah, it did. Also, interesting thing was Crucio talked to Cliff about how much David sucks, and also about the letterbox thing. Cliff said that he has a person in mind. Who did it? He didn't mention me though, and he said he's talking to lawyers. But that was a while ago. I hope the whole thing is blown over. Okay. Time now is 8:13 a.m. on September 10th. We are 8 days away from leaving. Yeah, so I slept from 3:45 to 8 a.m. Again, just like the last 2 days, I got so sleepy that in the middle of watching Cowboy Bebop episode 13, I almost fell asleep. And right now you can't tell under this lighting, but I have very pronounced black eye circles right now. I look pale and tired as hell. I'm basically sleeping very little for four days in a row. So yeah, but no worries, because tonight I'll be able to sleep. Tomorrow I have no plans, and I'm just gonna sleep all the way, you know. So, today I'm going to go to church for the last time, hopefully, until December. Or until ever, actually. I hope I never go to church again, really. We'll have lunch, very good lunch at Monterey Park and whatever. And then immediately after church, we're going to CMD. I'm gonna ask Jonah or whoever to drive me back to CMD so that we can interview Benny, and Naja will be there. Apparently Lizzie will be there as well. So this is going to be interesting. It's gonna be fun. And I'm so glad that we can finally finish up Benny's interview. And it's going to be fun, because this is going to be like a free, like, you know, it's going to feel like a talk show, but also it's like, we're going to have a free round where we just chat, essentially, on camera. So we'll see. And then after that, I think I'll go to Target for a little brief moment so that I can, you know, get some food, some simple food. Because chicken thighs or whatever are cheaper there. And then that's pretty much it for today. Yeah. I'm just really glad. I'm just really happy with the closure I had yesterday. I think it's just, yeah, I think it's a beautiful closure. This morning I had a horror dream, and I kind of forgot what happened, but it was some establishment getting destroyed or something. But even so, after I woke up today, I feel like it felt different, you know? I think I'm really at peace, but also I feel like I realize that I'm that person now. Like, I am not the kind of guy who would just follow trends and hop onto a girl and just like whatever, but turns out I'm that guy. And I know Leslie isn't like a popular girl, but you know, Simon has an Asian fetish, and I have a thing for mentally unstable women. But yeah, you know, I'm not a loser for not being able to maintain a relationship with Leslie. It's almost like the moment I fell in love with her, it's almost destined that it won't work out. It's not like I did anything drastically wrong or anything, you know. So, yeah. I'm still really awkward anyways. Like, I have very thick arms, and I saw my own interview videos, and I look very, you know, awkward and stuff, even though I try not to be. And I realized that my image is just like an awkward soft boy. Like, no matter how hard I try to be mysterious or whatever. And with acne on my face, I just come off a little weird. I'm not the cool guy I thought I was. I'm very fringe, I realized that. But I don't know, maybe things were different if I work out. And also I already act a lot more confident than like 2-3 years ago. But either way, hopefully I meet someone interesting again in the future. It will happen, trust me. And Leslie's testament to the fact that I'm not a romantic. Very much not. I'm a hopeless romantic, in fact. But yeah. Yeah, well, I also did some USC triple link research last night. And it's really they have so many buildings around USC. It's insane. And I booked a bunch of them to tour on the 13th. So I'm going to only tour on the 13th, and I'm going to tour them like all at once in one afternoon or something. Yeah. I'm leaving Thursday night empty just in case the old roommates want to do some drinking thing, like a wine night or whatever. Hopefully I also get the chance to have a drink with Tova and Benny and Lizzie and just like spill all the tea and whatever and just truly be myself. Yeah.
Did I say it right? Cute 名子空空。
And they even if
Nobody
they
would have
complained-
what?
Nobody would have complained to Film LA if we would have pushed it. Even if they would have been upset, they would have called.
Fuck off. The fuck are the bathrooms, bruh? What the fuck? Fuck off. Fuck off. Take me to a bathroom. For real. You want Campo's burritos? I'm gonna... Come on. Alright, instead of going to the Virginia Avenue State Park for the bathroom, I went to Campo's Burritos, which is a bit better because Virginia Park was a public bathroom and I don't fuck with them.
Wait, actually, why?
What the fuck?
Manage your resources too.
Okay, maybe. Oh, it's closed.
You gotta get your really wet, bro.
Oh shit. Too many pink ones though. I always get pink ones. But I like how wide roll it is.
Okay, he's like, I'm a transvestite.
He was the pirate on. He was Patsy the pirate on SpongeBob.
Okay.
Oh, he was.
So wait on. So
Spinning everywhere.
okay.
Hey, what do you think porn actors feel like?
23:05. Drop the class.
I looked at my phone and
3, 2, 1.
an hour.
Well, film
Boom.
5.
Yo.
It was only one class.
Okay, time now is 12:39 after midnight. Fuck. Okay. I just finished dinner, which is curry rice. Huge dinner. And let's talk about today. Today is another really heavy day. Just 4 very heavy, dense days. A lot to digest in general. Yesterday was a very sweet and peaceful ending. Today, I'm afraid, was a bit more less peaceful, perhaps. And undid the closure maybe a little bit, but in a sense, also very eye-opening, revelating. Felt like an ending for real. So I went to the church today. Jonah picked me up, but he was late. Picked me up in his Tesla, and church begins at 9, and he picked me up at around like 8:45, and then he had to go to Culver City to pick up another woman, whom I've seen before a few times. She's the the one who speaks really good English. And then we went to the church and we were late by about 20 minutes, but that's good because I really want to skip the singing parts anyways. I don't want to be awkwardly standing there listening to music. So the lecture, the sermon started and I was extremely sleepy. Again, for the last 4 days, including today, I've slept very little every single day. I've slept, I think, 4 plus 4.5 plus 4.5 plus 6 hours in total, which is 9 plus 4 is 15, 21 hours in 4 days, which isn't terrible, but it's definitely not good enough. So yeah, I almost fell asleep multiple times, but I managed to not completely fall asleep. Anyways, it's finished. It was extremely hot. We went to the Sunday school. And for some reason it felt like nobody showed up today, but eventually people did. But there was a very awkward phase so Jonah never joined us in the sermon because he was in the Tesla car charging, and he basically listened to the entire sermon on his phone, online, looking at the stream. So he basically left me and this other woman behind, and she went off to her other friends, and I was left alone, and it was kind of awkward. And she's like, "Do you want some coffee?" And I'm like, "Sure." So I lined up to get coffee. And I was looking at my phone, and Zara randomly sent me a bunch of texts saying, "Oh, I watched Parasite on the airplane. That's not good. Don't watch movies on airplanes. That ruins your experience. You can rewatch them, but don't have first watches on planes." And she said she doesn't like it that much, and I'm like, what the fuck? I gotta defend one of my favorite movies ever. So I was looking at the text, and some guy was like overreacting over the fact that I'm looking at my phone and was like, whoa, don't do that. A lot of people are lining up and waiting. He thought that I'm just going to like look at my phone and just like stand there with an empty cup and not fill in the coffee beside the coffee machine like a cartoon man, like one of those cartoonishly ignorant teenagers. Of course I'm not going to do that. Anyways, went to Sunday school, and we split up into like 8 different groups, and met a bunch of people that I haven't seen before, but I haven't spoken to before, but I probably won't speak to them or see them a lot anyways, because I'm not going back to church at all. Like, when I go back to Hong Kong, I'm not fucking going to church, okay? Don't expect me to go to church, because I won't. I'm now declaring I'm not Christian, okay? I'm like out of this whole faith thing now, okay? I'm done with it. But yeah, afterwards, apparently there's this lunch thing, and I was like, oh, is it pre-planned? Is it pre-arranged? Turns out it sort of is, but Jonah isn't, so I and Jonah, the siblings, the other woman who speaks very good English, 6 of us, and another glasses girl went to eat lunch, and I actually paid for Jonah's lunch because I feel bad that he helped me moving twice, and it was very tiring and exhausting and ridiculously complicated. And he's like, "Oh, you don't have to do it." And I'm like, "Yeah, but still." And he's like, "Fine." So I paid for lunch, and lunch was quite expensive. It was Malaysian food. I got fried noodles, and we also ordered a side of like toast, like gayang toast, which has this very sweet paste and butter. It was such a heavy meal. I was so full afterwards, and I paid $42.6 for the lunch, which is fucking insane. Including Jonah's share, of course. And then afterwards, we even went to get boba. I was really tired, but it was also extremely hot. It was like 34 degrees Celsius. Me, Jonah, and that woman went to a boba store to get boba. I got a mango oolong tea, and I drank that shit. We're supposed to arrive at the CMD at 2:30 p.m. Tova suddenly called me, and I texted Tova, like, "Hey, I can't call now." Tova told me the CMD is closed, like the entire thing is closed. Usually, so that was my suspicion, is that on Sunday it's closed. Of course it's closed. But maybe it's still open. Maybe we can still sneak in through the parking lot, because there have been Sundays where we could go in through the parking lot. Nope, apparently the whole thing is actually closed. So, quick change of plans, main campus. So I was late, of course. I'm always fucking late. I hate this. I arrived at the main campus at around 3:15, and I already saw Naja, Tova, and Benny, as well as Lizzie there. And we started filming the interview. And we had to move from one table to another because of like the mosquitoes. But anyways, we moved to another table, which looked pretty good. And we continued to interview Benny. And this time around, we didn't do this, or at least we toned down this talk show method where I and Tova and Naja basically like act like we're talk show hosts so that we can ease Benny into speaking stuff, which is cool. But Benny still gets like, he says a lot of stuff, which is great. This is probably why Benny's interview is my favorite interview. That's because Benny literally says everything. He talks about Anna getting a mental breakdown. He talks about Gustavo fighting with Leslie. He talks about, apparently he and Zach, like he lost a little respect for Zach as well. He just talked everything. He spent a whole hour talking about the agave plant stuff. And Tova got impatient because the interview went on and on until like 5:30 essentially, 5:30 p.m. ish. And it was ridiculously long. And I wanted to keep going because we still haven't gotten to the good parts, the pickup day and, ghosting me, those parts. But we ended up going through all the questions, and Tova would skip, like, okay, Tova would be like, okay, so let's talk about the pickup day. And I'm like, okay, before that, there's still like the wrap party and stuff. And then Tova's like, is that really necessary? And I'm like, yeah, I want the whole truth. But I also don't want to have I know there are bound to be creative differences between me and Tova, but yeah, it's it's vital to the story. But anyways, Benny spilled everything. Benny even talked about things that I never intended him to talk about, like Zach and Salali's situation and Burke and Liana's situation, and him and Ariel. I thought he would be keeping it under wraps, but no, he just talked about it. We got his consent, and then we finished the interview, and it was amazing. It was a really well done interview. There have been a lot of dramatic moments, and it just worked really well. He even talked about a few things that I and Tova and Naja did not know about at all. They weren't extremely shocking or anything, but it's interesting. And that's pretty much it. I think at some point Benny mentioned that he recently hung out with Leslie, and it's very recent, and they just saw each other at CMD or something and hung out a little bit. And I was like, and Benny's like, oh, I have something interesting to talk about that. And I'm like, really? I got curious. And then Benny's like, yeah, it's not that interesting. So a little bit later, I basically told Tova what Kiara told me, because it doesn't fucking matter now, does it? Leslie's not that close to me now anyways. I don't really want to care about her all that much anyways. About the whole, Simon and Leslie actually dated. Albeit it's like a one date, And then Benny basically was like, okay, so it's a little more complicated. And Benny originally didn't want to tell me that because it's not healthy for me to hear, but I'm like, you know what, at this point, I don't care. So Benny basically dropped the bomb of the day, and that is, Leslie's not a virgin. Apparently, a few months ago, Leslie met some guy from some shoot, some 20-something-year-old guy, and they hooked up, and Leslie lost her virginity to this random dude, and she really liked it, according to Benny, and she was feral about it, and she's really masochistic, and she's into BDSM, but she's the masochistic one, and she's the submissive one. And I was pretty fucking shocked, because even though I've never asked her this, if she's a virgin or not, I've always guessed that she isn't, because I've always thought that she has no social life at all. And she has never dated a person. I mean, the last time she dated was this random dude in elementary school, but that doesn't fucking count because they were kids. So she's never dated before, and I don't see her as the type of girl who would just go out and fuck boys without actually dating them. You know, like Leslie doesn't strike me as the hoe type of person. So I've always assumed that she's a virgin. And then Benny told me that she's not a virgin. And I'm like, really? Who is it? Like, how? And then I asked further, like, how do you know Leslie's submissive? And Benny's like, do you really want to know? Do you actually really want to know? And then I'm like, yeah, you know, it would be too awkward and like too, you know, let's not push it further. I don't need to know. I'm not going to see Leslie anymore. Probably never going to speak to her. And it's going to be okay. You know, I got to move on from her, really, for real. I really needed to go pee. But all the bathrooms are closed in the main campus, so I actually went to Google Maps and searched public bathrooms. And I was walking on my way to Virginia Avenue, and I was like, it was just me and my phone and the keys to this Airbnb, because I thought I'm going back here immediately, directly. And I was like, my bladder was about to explode. I found Campos Burritos restaurant, and I went in and I was like, can I use the bathroom? And the guy's like, sure. So I went in and took a piss. It was amazing. And while I was walking, I thought to myself, everything fucking added up. Everything fucking added up. When Leslie had a crush on Theo, Kiara told me because he likes how much of an asshole Theo is. I am like the opposite of an asshole. I'm so nice to her. I was basically like a fucking knight. I helped her out with things, whatever. Of course I'm not her type. I'm a nice guy. And I thought it's like opposites attract, because I'm a nice guy, but she's a mean girl. But in some ways, I think she's like projecting. Like, she became the person she likes, you know? The same way sometimes I become, you know, I try to be unpredictable, and I try to be, you know, sort of ever-changing, because I like people who are unpredictable and ever-changing. And then another thing was, back in May when I was trying to like tell Leslie that I'm in love with someone, but I'm not telling her who it is, I told her that the girl I like is cute and aggressive, and Leslie told me that she will have she may have a crush on this girl too, because she really likes people who are cute and aggressive. She likes aggressive people. At that point, I just thought that, oh, she likes this type of people because she thinks similarly like me. I didn't think that she likes aggressive people because she's submissive and masochistic. Turns out it kind of adds up now. Apparently, according to Benny, she likes being spanked and dominated. So, I don't know. I immediately told Kiara this. Kiara this morning actually sent me like an Instagram DM about the floods in Hong Kong. It's interesting how all of a sudden, after the talk I had with her last night, I and this 30-something-year-old Italian woman is like way closer for some reason. I immediately told Kiara about how Benny told me that she lost her virginity, and I was like quite shocked actually. But in a bitter, but also not like, it's not crushing me. Like, if I found out that she's a virgin in June, it would just fucking destroy me. Thank God I only found out now. I told Kiara this, and Kiara was like, okay, that's not true. She's lying. She never told me about this. I think she's lying. But I just thought, why would she lie about something like that? It's so specific. But she is a liar. Because according to Kiara, the only person Leslie had dated, it was this 24-year-old Korean American guy who was in the same film 1 class with Leslie. They dated for 2 weeks. What the fuck? So she dated someone. She told me she's never dated anyone. So she's already a liar in the first place. Maybe it's the same person. Maybe she had sex with this Korean American guy and told Benny but didn't tell Kiara. I don't know. But Kiara said she and him did nothing and she ghosted him. Again, classic Leslie ghosting people. And then Kiara was like, she was also almost trying to help me out. She was like, don't, like, okay, I'm going to investigate this, you know. And I'm like, oh, okay, whoa. But a little bit later, like half an hour later, she basically told me, you know what, let's move on. Let's move on from this. And I'm like, yeah, we should. Honestly, I don't know if Leslie's a virgin or not. She could be lying. Maybe she's not. Maybe she's only lying to Benny because it's fun to like play with Benny's feelings, or maybe play with my feelings through Benny, or maybe it's not a lie. Maybe she's just hiding the truth from Kiara. Either way, it's possible. It doesn't matter now, does it? She's nothing but a movie character to me. You know, it still sucks. I still have feelings for her, but after yesterday and today, my image of her just turns more and more sour. She isn't special. I wasn't special to her. Then why should I treat her special to me, you know? And I hate to learn that she's also submissive. Like, I thought she was like a very dominant person. I guess not. But yeah, either way, it doesn't really matter now. Doesn't really matter. Some questions are better left unanswered. So there goes part 1 of the day. Alright, let's continue. So, God, I'm so full right now. I don't know. So after the interview, Lizzie apparently is busy and has to do this project for an assignment for a film class in CSUN. And she is going to do it with Benny. And Benny and Lizzie were like, Tova, you can join. And I and Naja also joined as well. So even though the original plan was I go home, like someone's going to drive me back home. But you know what? Screw it. I have a little time. I'm already expected to go out anyways. Might as well go to Lizzie's house. So we actually went to Lizzie's house. So this is completely off the plan. And then at that point, I was sort of like, you know, befuddled, flabbergasted a little bit by the whole Leslie's virginity thing. So I didn't really fucking care at that point. And then Benny started talking about how, you know, we should go to a sex shop. So we went to Lizzie's place for like 3 seconds and saw her boyfriend, who was this white guy by the name of Jack. But yeah, Benny drove me and Lizzie to Lizzie's house. And then a little bit later, all of us, including Tova and Naja, went to a sex store called I Am Now a Lover. I know it's fucking stupid. In Culver City. And I've been to a store where at the very back there are like sex toys and stuff, but this is like a full-on sex store. So, and it's the first time I've ever been here, and clearly me, Tova, and Naja are like completely immune to sex. Like, we, ever since we're born, we're just completely like full-on nerds. Like, I've never held a woman's hand, you know. And we entered it, and it wasn't like awkward for any of us. I just found it amusing. I just didn't really care all that much, and I just walked around and observing things and like, you know, it's whatever. And I just went off. I just looked at dildos, and there are like condoms, and I'm like, oh my god, Zach! Oh my god, that reminds me of Zach! Oh my god, this is made for Zach! Oh my god, Sitlali! Zach and Sitlali! This is what they use! Zach and Sitlali! And it just kept bursting out their names, and I was having a lot of fun doing that. And Naja was laughing so hard. It was pretty whack, honestly. And Benny started recommending me like condoms. Even during the interviews, Benny talked about having sex with Ariel and how it's kind of sad that it's not like a real relationship and they're just having sex. And Tova was like, oh yeah, that's so sad. And I was like, wow, that's so sad. And then they know I'm taking the piss out of Benny, and Benny's like, don't worry, Enoch, I'm gonna get you laid. Don't worry, I'm gonna get you laid. And I'm like, at this point I really like don't care all that much anymore. Yeah, anyways, and then afterwards we went to several more stores because we need to look for a devil costume for some reason. We went to like a party store, but it's closed. We went to Target, we went to Ross, and at the end we just found some devil horns, and like that's pretty much it. And then we went to Lizzie's place, and then from like 7 p.m. to essentially 9 p.m. From 6 p.m. to 9 p.m., 7 p.m. to 9 p.m., we basically shot Lizzie's short film, which is not really a short film, it's like a 1-minute thing. It's like a 1-minute no dialogue thing, like a homework, and it's like the worst thing I've ever shot, honestly. And I've become the DP, so essentially I'm holding Lizzie's phone, and I am the one filming things, and I looked at the outline, and it's just a bunch of shots, and the story doesn't really make sense, and it's also really ambitious, like you can't really fit this into 1 minute. Same mistake I would make all the time for my film school application short films. Like there's no way I could fit all this into such a short amount of time. But I helped Lizzie anyways. I tried my best, and both Naja and Tova were like, ooh, Enoch's in his element. Ooh, Enoch's really turning into a DP here. He's channeling his inner Jonathan. And I was joking around too. And Tova helped out with some art department stuff, like setting up the props. And then and it was so like plain and rudimentary. Tova helped making up Benny and turn him into this Tim Curry, I'm just a sexy transvestite look. That's not what she went for, but it reminded me of that. And, Nandra did some turn off the lights in the middle of a shot. But anyways, I filmed it, and I sort of became a DP, somehow, just because I was there. And, quote unquote, because I just hold the camera. But yeah, we did it, and it was okay, and then afterwards, I dropped the classes. I dropped Film 5, basically. I remembered, holy shit, right, I need to drop the class. Because if I don't drop it today, then I'll just lose $2,200 out of nowhere. So yeah, I dropped the class, and then we left. And then apparently Tova and Lizzie and Benny are going to a weed dispensary. And, and even during when we were shopping and going around in Target and Ross, we were still talking about sex stuff because Benny just really, really likes sex. So he keeps mentioning condoms. When I was in the car with Benny, Benny pulled out some condoms and was like, I really recommend this, blah, 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 blah. And at some point we were talking about how the devil needs a tail, and Benny joked saying that the tail should be internally plugged in, like a butt plug, essentially. So Naja out of nowhere just asked, have you ever had anal sex? Oh my god, it's just so stupid. People are saying shit like this so casually. And I know it's normal, but it's rare for me, because I'm such a Puritan, And Benny's like, yeah. And I legit at that point thought that that by saying yes, it means he got pegged by a girl or something. But it didn't. And then Benny clarified, oh no, I'm the one giving, not receiving. And then here I am. I've never held a woman's hand, So it's really funny. It's really, really. And at that point I don't care anymore. And I like being with Benny too, actually. During the interview, Benny was really dramatic. Benny talked about how he really enjoyed Film 33. It sort of changed his life. It's a really wild experience for him, but he's really glad that it happened. It was such an experience. I sort of have the same sentiment with him. It's such a terrible experience for me, but I'm glad it happened because it sort of changed me and how I saw the world. And I'm just glad it happened, really. And Benny was basically the alternate me. Like Benny is basically me, but has a lot of sex, is smart, gets the girl, has charisma. And I and Benny are principally, in terms of principles, we're very similar. You know, we're both very political people. We both enjoy experiencing bad things happening to us because we gain wisdom from it. We're both really ambitious people, but he's just the better, brighter, more successful, more main character version, and I'm just the more like hidden, obscure, sort of this failure version. And calling myself a failure is harsh, but I guess in a sense, I just don't work as well in this provided environment as Benny does. But you know, even though I think I'm friends with Benny, but I can still safely say that I am a rival of his, or I was at least, and I can proudly say that. You know. And yeah, that's pretty much it for today. I ended up spending 20 minutes sending voice mails to Zara to explain to her why Parasite is a good film and why Joker is kind of overrated. Like, Zara said she watched Joker on the plane and she really loved it. And I'm like, what? Come on, bro. And then, you know, she talked about how Letterboxd is more Hollywoodish and she prefers the Chinese platform, which is Douban, which I thought was absolute bullshit. That's the one that pissed me off. If you don't like Parasite, fine. Wrong opinion, but fine. But nobody fucking uses Douban. That's so stupid. But, you know, I ended up sending 20 voicemails to her. And she was actually hanging out with Natalie for some reason. And she took a selfie with Natalie and sent it to me. And it was a disappearing photo. And so I tapped on it and saw it. And thank God I didn't screenshot it. Like, I just have this natural instinct of screenshotting shit. Thank God I didn't screenshot it because the WhatsApp would definitely notify her. But yeah, it was Natalie's face. That's how she looks now. God, she's gained weight. You know, yeah, there's that. And then not much else. Not much else. I don't know. I think what I like to say is Film 33 has really changed me. For better or worse, I think I've become, you know, way braver because of Film 33. Like, I just call people up, email people, talk to strangers all the time now, and it's like the norm. And I know I could handle it because I got the strats down, I got the formula. I think Film 33 made me go through a whole character arc, and it was sort of like, it was a journey, and I feel enlightened almost because I've come to a point of like, I've come to such a low point in May and June that August and September now have made me a stronger, better man. You know, I think I think mainly it's because of Leslie and how after Leslie, I really want to understand that getting a girlfriend, not having a girlfriend, having sex, not having sex, holding a woman's hand even, they don't really matter anymore. And I don't want them to matter, and they don't really matter to me anymore. And it's good for me to just steer clear. And again, I think part of me fell in love with Leslie because of my insecurity. Because I exist in this very chaotic world where there are so many uncertainties. I'm in Film 33, and the only person I usually cling on is Pepper. Pepper's weak as fuck. I'm even stronger than Pepper when it comes to filmmaking and like my standing in CMD. So I can't rely on Pepper, and Pepper's gone anyways. I can't really rely on anyone, and I thought that culturally the most similar person is like Leslie. So I just stuck with her. So there's that dependency element to it. Another thing is, of course, her personality, and it's just a really good combination. But honestly, despite the fact that I can still safely say I really love how fucked up and twisted and unpredictable and monstrous and inhuman her personality is, a huge part of the reason why I fell in love with her in the first place is because of dependency. Because I felt insecure. I wanted someone to hold me tight and guide me through this chaos, or accompany me at least. It's out of low self-esteem. But I think simultaneously Film 33 made me realize that I shouldn't have such low self-esteem. There aren't that many people out there who can safely say that they've made 6 short films in my age. And there aren't a lot of people out there who have gone through such a drastic social change like I did in the last year. So, yeah, yeah. But, yeah, the last couple of days for me really showed me who Leslie is. Again, I don't think I'll ever find out if she's a virgin or not. Doesn't matter to me anymore. Hate to say it, but it doesn't really matter anymore. I'm just one of her victims, is all. She's the kind of character, that girl who, for some reason, seems kind of inconspicuous. She's not like an obvious choice, yet so many people swarm towards her, have crushes on her, because she's the weird alt crazy girl. And sort of like Natalie, basically. And me going to her thinking that, ooh, I must be like the only person who's ever fallen in love with her, made the same mistake as a few other guys. Maybe not many guys, but a few other guys. And we're all just victims of her. And even women are victims of her. God only knows, because she's bisexual. And even Kiara, who was apparently her mother figure before Crystal, was just another victim. And it really isn't that complicated. Our falling out isn't my fault. Isn't really her fault either. It's her animalistic nature, her tendency to lie, to constantly change her mind, to like something and then not liking something, and then liking something again, to not liking something, to refusing help, to refusing social connections, and then burying herself with cigarettes and alcohol and more stress, thinking that it's going to liberate her, and then using people to satisfy herself cheaply, but never really, having any real commitments or ambitions. She never wanted to be a writer-director anyways. She doesn't even know what she wants to do. Makes her this creepy crawly monster, this creature who is like as promiscuous and as sad and as pointless as she can be. And she's a beautiful monster. She's a very interesting person. She has layers, but she's also just this unstable person who just fucks around, plays around, and is fucking miserable about it, unlike me. So I really made a huge mistake by believing that I and Leslie are similar. When I fell in love with her in March, I thought we're both similar because we both have very low self-esteem and we're both very artsy and poetic. But that's scratching the surface. First of all, she doesn't have low self-esteem. She loves herself. She's only suicidal because she can't stand the world around her. She can stand herself. She can't stand the world around her. We're both artsy and poetic. But she is too enveloped in her own issues to be any poetic at all. I am emotionally mature enough to be poetic. I have my own issues, but I embrace them, Leslie just makes her own issues into more bigger issues. And, yeah, I just think, it's good that it's over. I think I've gotten my taste, of, edgy, unstable woman. I think I've gotten a taste of that already. I don't need another helping of that. So, I'm ready to move on. I'm ready to find someone new. But most importantly, I think it's bad to have this mindset of, oh, I need to move on, I need to find another girlfriend, another girl target, you know. You know, I should just fucking give up. Because there's no point to any of this anymore. There's no point. It's all pointless. So, yeah, that's that. Nothing else. Tomorrow I'm gonna go to Target. I plan to do it today, but I'm just gonna do it tomorrow. And then tomorrow I think I'm gonna go to CMD to film the sunset shot and one more shot for the ending of the movie. Yeah, I thought about doing it on Friday, but the thing is on Friday I need to see Ashes of Time. I thought about, okay, so originally I wanted to film the sunset today because we're doing it at CMD, but apparently we're not. So I thought maybe we could do it on the DIT day on Friday. But the thing is, obviously I can't, because on Friday night, before sunset even happens, I need to be hanging out with Potter to watch Ashes of Time. So might as well do it tomorrow, since I have something free. And that's pretty much it. And look forward to sleep.